What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and let's get excited, guys. Episode 2 of The Mandalorian drops, I believe, at midnight. I'm hoping it's at midnight. Right now, I'm on the Disney Plus app, and right now, there's currently just the one episode. So, yeah, let's make this fun, guys. Let's talk about some theories, some predictions for what we could see in the second episode of The Mandalorian, because we're just hours away from all of us being able to watch the next episode of The Mandalorian. One thing I do want to say off the top here is I want to just say how appreciative I am that we get 2 episodes of this show in 1 week. That's amazing. Disney Plus launched on Tuesday. This is only technically day 3 of Disney Plus, and it's been over 48 hours, obviously, so it hasn't been 3 days technically. But anyway, the fact that we got an episode of The Mandalorian on launch day and we get an episode of The Mandalorian tonight is just absolutely awesome. And I am so excited, and I can't wait to dive deeper and deeper into the show and more into the lore of Star Wars. So let's talk a little bit about The Mandalorian. I'm going to go with my predictions. So I believe that in this second episode, we're going to explore obviously a lot more about the past of the Mandalorian. I think that's almost a given. I feel like it's going to be something that's going to be fleshed out throughout the season, which, a lot of shows do that. It's kind of like a trope for a TV show. Arrow did that big time. I kind of stopped watching Arrow after like season 5, but I think that knowing more about the Mandalorian, maybe knowing more about the nurturing side of him, could help us in figuring out how he's going to approach basically keeping this asset, out of harm's way. Because there's absolutely no way he's going to give this asset up to Werner Herzog. And I think that in this episode, we're going to see a confrontation between them two. And I think Werner Herzog is probably obviously going to be pretty pissed, because the Mandalorian is going to be like, look, I ain't giving you this asset. There's no way possible. Or another scenario could be he goes to Werner Herzog, he has the asset, and he asks him what you're going to do with the asset. And if they say, oh, we're going to test him, or we're going to like kind of do experiments on him, then he'll probably take the asset and run, essentially. And so Werner Herzog's character seems like a character you do not want to cross. I think we're going to learn more and more about him as well, and things that maybe he's done in the past, and maybe a little bit, obviously we're going to know a little bit more into why this asset, we know why it's such a big deal, but why this asset is a big deal to those that have the bounty on this asset. And it's pretty exciting. I actually watched the episode with my wife, and so to see a little baby Yoda, practically, it's not Yoda obviously, but to see a baby that is the same species as Yoda, it's awesome, number one. And number two, I think we're going to maybe even get a little bit more into the lore of Yoda. I think this season is going to experiment with that and play on that idea. And I think that this show is really going to drift more into a father-son, or really father and child relationship, where the Mandalorian ultimately is going to have to assume the role of the caretaker for this infant, a 50-year-old infant. And obviously, different creatures age very differently. So I think that we're going to explore more. They're going to explore more territories into this character, explore more characteristics into the Mandalorian himself, and how his nurturing nature could ultimately help in raising this asset and protecting him from Werner Herzog's character. Now, I do believe that we're going to get another IG-11 at some point, maybe this season. I think Gina Carano's character could be introduced this episode. I really think that there are a lot of possibilities that they could go to in this episode. I think this is going to be a much more intense episode. I think it could be longer. I really hope it is. And I think even though episode 1 kind of laid down the foundation and the groundwork for the series, this episode really has to stick the landing, because to me, the second episode of a series says a lot about a show, because it almost kind of gives you, it almost helps you see kind of how the pacing of the show is going to be. how they're going to try to weave intricate patterns into this already pretty packfully lore story. And I think that it makes for something really interesting in the Star Wars universe because we have 8 episodes essentially. We don't know how long each of them are going to be. The first episode was like 36 minutes. This episode, hopefully it's longer, but I don't know how much longer it'll be. So if they give us 30-minute episodes, I'll be pretty disappointed, honestly. But essentially, we're getting, even if it's 30-minute episodes, there's 8 episodes. That's 4 hours of Star Wars. This is essentially 2 movies. And so I think that they're going to pick and choose which parts are going to be best fit in certain moments of this franchise or of this series. So I'm really excited, and I don't necessarily think that we're going to dip much more or dig much more deeper into, maybe certain characters that have been introduced. Like, for example, I don't really see us seeing him really go to great lengths about getting more bounties. It seems like bounties are kind of just not as resourcefully or financially stable as they once were. And so maybe the rest of the season is just going to show him basically having to go out of his way and above and beyond to try to protect the asset. Now, they've been really good about not showing us a lot in the trailers because it seems like a lot of the trailers show us most of the first episode and really the beginning of the first episode, if I may add. So it's hard to kind of come up with predictions because it's only been 1 episode and we haven't really gotten a lot of trailer footage that has been outside of the pilot episode. And I really do think that the pilot episode says a lot about the show, but it also doesn't say enough because essentially the pilot, it felt like to me that the pilot was just a way to kind of, number one, make people aware of the setting, the story, kind of where we're going to take this and explore. Number two, it said to me as well that, okay, we need to see if this works. Does this actually work? How does the audience respond to it? Obviously, they feel confident enough in it to have season 2 starting production. So honestly, guys, I think they're really going to stick the landing. I watched the first episode again with my wife last night, and I still like it. I think my problems are still there with it, and I think it just kind of clarifies to me that this show, I don't really know if there's really going to be a lot of filler. I think that this show is really going to kind of just sink its teeth in. There's going to be moments where we can kind of have levity and we can relax a little bit, but I think that this is going to be a very inducing or heart pumping type of show because the way that this first episode played out, it's going to show how much the intensity is there because a lot of shows, they start off slow. This one, it didn't really feel like that. Again, one of my biggest problems is that we don't know where the Mandalorian is. We knew he was at Mandalore, but where else was he? We don't know. So that's one thing that's going to be pretty interesting is, are they going to kind of change that dynamic? Are they going to stick it to a smaller world, I guess, per se, or a smaller galaxy, as opposed to a much more grandiose and cathedral like galaxy? Because the thing about Star Wars is Star Wars has always been so expansive, but it also feels so small and secluded. And this show, just gauging off of the first episode, I don't really know if there's going to be a lot of moving back and forth, a lot of moving parts. I really think that this could be a seclusion type of show where the Mandalorian is going to have to just kind of be here and there, back and forth from certain points or certain parts of the galaxy. So I think that this definitely opens up a lot of room in terms of where the show can go. With the ending of the first episode, which totally took me off guard, I really think that it's going to have more of a dynamic of that father-kid relationship, because we obviously don't know whether or not this creature has any type of connection with Yoda. I don't think it does, to be honest. It is 50 years old. Yoda was super old when he died, and you know, they age slowly. So the big thing is, how does this creature, what is so significant about it? Yes, we know that there's not a lot of that creature in the galaxy, and really they've been extinct. And so, it's very rare, but why is it one of those things that they have to explore, or why is it one of those things that they kind of have to examine and test out? So I want to know your guys' thoughts down below, because I'm really interested to see what you guys think. I think that they have a lot of room. They have a lot of ways that they can navigate the series, and really this season, I think, is going to say a lot about where Star Wars is, because ultimately we have the sequel trilogy coming to an end. And watching this show, watching the first episode, it really made me feel like Star Wars is trying to get their footing after episode 9, because episode 9, it's going to come and go 1 month. I'm so excited to see episode 9, by the way, guys. But 1 month is going to come and go like that. And then when it's out there and it's for the masses, everyone's seen it, the next question is, where do they go? Benioff and Weiss are out. You still have Rian Johnson's trilogy that, it hasn't really been talked about, to be honest. You have a Kevin Feige produced movie. Maybe it could be a trilogy. We don't know. We don't really know anything. And that's far away. I mean, you want to talk about far away and, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's where Star Wars films and a lot of these Star Wars I can't even speak, guys. I am sorry. Let me get a drink real quick. This is awful. I can't speak. And by the way, lemonade is good. Anyway, as I was saying, Star Wars is so far away into seeing where they go next in terms of a film standpoint. Right now, all we have is The Mandalorian. After episode 9, we have Clone Wars and we have Mandalorian. And then we have the Obi-Wan series, which, we have no idea when that is going to be ready and, kind of pushed out there. So it's a very tough thing right now. For us Star Wars fans, we're living in the moment. We have The Mandalorian. We get 2 episodes of it this week. A month from now, we get episode 9. But when the last episode of The Mandalorian is on Disney Plus, of course, I'm going to go back and rewatch it. But there's not much left. And there's nothing really new coming for a little bit. Now, I believe Mandalorian Season 2 will probably be out by next year, maybe the year after. We'll see. Next year's kind of pushing it a little bit. I think that's kind of where you get into a little bit of rush mode there. But, is this going to be sustainable for us Star Wars fans? Are we going to feel very satisfied? And I got to say, next year, when there's nothing coming out Star Wars related, it's going to be weird. It really is. It's going to feel like I am starving. Now, I lived at a time where we had the prequels, that came out in theaters, and, it was Star Wars. I mean, it wasn't great, but, some people waited 30 years, 20 years for any of the prequel movies to come out. And so me being a huge Star Wars fan, I got to appreciate the fact that I didn't have to wait that long ever for Star Wars content, not like, other fans who are much older than me. And so to me, it's an interesting predicament that we're going to be in, because we've been so blessed, and we've had the honor of having at least one Star Wars project come out in the, yearly for the past 5 years. And when that's gone, it's gone. And 2020, there's really nothing on the slate for Star Wars. So, Mandalorian season 2. Gosh, I wish I could talk, guys. I'm sorry. Mandalorian season 2 could come out December of next year, but that's still a little early, and that would feel like a little bit of a stretch. It would be really hard for them to kind of push out The Mandalorian at such a rapid rate and not have certain flaws or certain technical issues or whatever. So honestly, guys, I want to know your guys' thoughts about that too. Where do you think that The Mandalorian is the future of Star Wars? And there's a report out there that Bob Iger or Alan Horn has said The Mandalorian could be actually a feature film someday. Do I believe it? Yeah, I really do. And I think if we're going to bring Cassian Andor and K2SO to their own series off of a movie like Rogue One, which, by the way, Rogue One to me is still the best thing that Disney has produced so far in the Star Wars umbrella. Now, I could finish the season of The Mandalorian and be like, I changed my mind, and I hope I do. We'll see. And same thing with Episode 9. But Rogue One had those two characters, Cassian Andor and K2SO, and now they're going from a movie cinematic experience to the small screen of television. But if they go on the same trajectory that The Mandalorian has already in the first episode of being cinematic and feeling like a true film, I don't have any problem with that. I think that they're really honing in on how they want to go about their live action series. Clone Wars, I know a lot of people love Clone Wars. I have not watched the series, I've watched 5 or 6 episodes from season 1. I don't really know if I like it. I just started watching Star Wars Rebels, and I'm really into it. I'm 4 episodes in, so I still have a long way to go. So for me, next year, I'm still going to have a lot of stuff that I want to watch because I do want to watch Clone Wars. I do want to watch, Star Wars. I think it's Forces of Destiny or something like that. I want to finish Star Wars Rebels, and it'll probably take me till next year to do so. So for me, I'll feel like next year I will still have the satisfaction, but not anything newly released that all of us in the Star Wars fandom can enjoy, and something that's new to all of us. So I want to know your guys' thoughts. I really do think The Mandalorian could be a movie. I think that without having Star Wars projects next year, again, that's if The Mandalorian doesn't get pushed for like a very late 2020 release for season 2. And also, I don't know the timetable specifically for the Clone Wars, but that probably won't be until like at least 2021, I'd imagine. So, it's going to be a little dry next year in terms of Star Wars content, but, we're going to have a lot of MCU stuff, which is going to be fun, and it's going to be great, and we're all excited for that. But I'm a Star Wars guy first and foremost, and that's the thing that really gets me up in the morning. I'm the type of guy, I'm the type of person that, like, when you have 2 things thrown in front of me, Star Wars, the MCU, and horror, we'll put 3 things. I love all 3 of these things. I really do. But I'm going to pick Star Wars every time. Every time, no matter what. But, yeah, I want to know your guys' thoughts down below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Star Wars, where it's going from here, how The Mandalorian can impact where Star Wars goes moving forward, your predictions of Episode 2 for The Mandalorian. We're going to find out in a few hours. I'm so excited. I've been like refreshing this page. I'm going to refresh it again just because I kid you not. I have an inkling and a little bit of faith that they could drop Episode 2 of The Mandalorian early. And the reason why I say that is because they launched Disney Plus earlier than expected. And if they do that with The Mandalorian, I'm going to leave you guys, and I'm going to watch the episode. That's for dang sure. Let me just check real quick. Mandalorian, nope, still Episode 1. So, no episode yet, guys. But, yeah, it's great. I really like how cinematic the show feels. And regardless, it's been 1 episode. I mean, the show could totally still suck, but so far, I've really enjoyed what I've watched. Watching it twice. I'm going to watch it a 3rd time at some point. I'm going to have Clayton come over. You guys know Clayton from my Star Wars series, who no longer is going to help me with the Star Wars series. I thank him, though, for his help. You might see him again, maybe Episode 9. Maybe I'll have him do a review or something like that, or like maybe he'll come for a spoiler review. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, honestly, Clayton doesn't have Disney Plus, so he's probably going to come over and watch it sometime this weekend. And yeah, Disney Plus it's a blessing, guys. I mean, this is amazing. I love Disney Plus. You know, I'm going to get off the track of Star Wars a little bit here just for a second. One of my all-time favorite shows growing up as a kid was Boy Meets World. I love that show. That and Saved by the Bell. I didn't watch like your typical cartoons or, you know, your typical like Disney Channel shows, whatever. I didn't watch any of that stuff. Hannah Montana, no. I don't even know the other shows. Wizards of Waverly Place, I think. But Boy Meets World was always my thing. And I love Disney Plus because you get every episode of Boy Meets World, which is friggin' amazing. And I was going through and watching some episodes last night, just kind of reminiscing a little bit. But yeah, I really love the fact that we're getting all of this great content on Disney Plus. We're getting The Mandalorian. We're going to be getting a ton of MCU content next year and even in the years down the road. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible the era that we live in, and especially as Star Wars fans, when we have not one but two projects coming out in Star Wars, that is pretty incredible to me. And you know, say what you want about The Last Jedi, say what you want about the status of where the Star Wars movie franchise is. I think it's such a blessing that we get two projects in the same galaxy. I just think that's awesome. That's so awesome. And I saw this interesting comment someone had said, because they moved the date for the Mandalorian, one of the Mandalorian episodes, to the 18th. On a Wednesday instead of a Friday. And someone had asked, oh, is it because it correlates too much or it's going to be included in episode 9 or something? It's like, no. It's because they don't want the Mandalorian to get in the way of people going to go see The Rise of Skywalker. And so, honestly, guys, we live in such a great time that we get two projects for that Star Wars related, and they're live action freaking projects. That's amazing to me. And you guys might feel different, but I think it's awesome. I really do. These are the 2 months where all the Star Wars fans are going to be just living in glory and just saying, oh, the MCU is good. Comic book movies fun. Joker was great. I love Joker. It's my #1 film of the year, beside the point. You know, Game of Thrones is awesome. But Star Wars, baby. That's where it's at. 2 months of Star Wars. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you, Lucasfilm. Thank you, Disney Plus. That's all I gotta say. Here we go. Numanoid the Gamer. Thanks for commenting in the chat, Numanoid. Do you have anything to say about the Rian Johnson trilogy coming out soon? Or well, maybe. Yeah, I don't really have anything yet. We don't really know what it's going to be about. I think it's going to be something totally new and totally different. He's already kind of proclaimed that. I don't know. We don't really have a lot of information, and we don't even know necessarily if they're actually going to continue to go through it. Because maybe my theory is this. Weiss and Benioff, they left. Obviously, there's some creative differences. Kathleen Kennedy, I love her as a producer. She's an amazing producer, but she should not be heading an entire film company. She just shouldn't. She's terrible at having great communication and great relationships with directors, which is her main job. Why do you think Kevin Feige is so respected in the industry? It's not because he fires every other director working on a project. Yes, there is structure, but they also give directors the creative freedom. Whereas Kathleen Kennedy, it doesn't seem like Star Wars has a lot of structure right now. The Mandalorian is aside. It really doesn't have a lot of structure, especially in its film franchise. And it seems like Kathleen Kennedy, she kind of just lets the directors get kind of total control, free hand, do whatever you want. But you got to appease me. You got to appease what I want in the film. And honestly, like, again, no shade to Kathleen Kennedy. I think she's a phenomenal producer, but I really think that she should not be heading an entire company. And you know what? I'll say this. George Lucas specifically chose her. I get it. I get it. I love George Lucas. I kneel at the altar of George Lucas, said most famously by John Campea, so I'm not going to steal his quote. I love George Lucas. George Lucas is one of my idols. He's one of the people I really want to meet in my life. But I'll say this. I don't give a crap what George Lucas, the guy who directed and made the prequel, says about what Star Wars should do now. I don't. And I know that there's people out there that think differently, that they think Disney should have went along with what George Lucas wanted for the sequel trilogy, and the fact that he hates, the new movies, the fact that they're doing a solo movie, which I didn't really like all that much anyway. Rogue One. I love George Lucas, but guess what? You don't have any right to say what happens. You're not in charge, buddy. You're not. And I'm not going to lose any sleep at night knowing that Disney's not listening to the guy who made the prequels. I'm sorry. I know there's people out there who love the prequels. Clayton, who's done my Star Wars series with me, loves the prequels. Mead, his brother, who I'm really good friends with, who might be watching this video. I know you like the prequels. I'm just saying that based on the quality of the prequels, George Lucas, I'm sorry, man. You're out. And so if Kathleen Kennedy was removed at some point, which I don't think she's doing a great job. I really don't. She's doing a subpar, okay job. The problem is you have to have someone who has a good relationship with the directors. You have to. You can't do this crap of Colin Trevorrow is going to direct our next film, Episode 9. Woo! Everyone's excited. Yay! The guy from Jurassic World is going to write and direct the next Star Wars movie. And then all of a sudden, a couple months later, they pull him. He's gone. And he says, I just didn't have time. Or, creative differences. Baloney. Kathleen Kennedy needs to get her ducks in a row. She's done this time and time again. She did it with not just Colin Trevorrow, Benioff and Weiss. She just did it with Benioff and Weiss. She did it with Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the two guys who produced Solo, which really they were the ones who were supposed to direct it. And so the problem is you have to have someone in control of the studio who has a good relationship with directors, who just doesn't decide, I'm going to give you guys free control, but you have to appease what I want. And if you don't appease what I want, there is no compromise. See out the door. That's honestly how I feel like she's conducting business. And honestly, you cannot do that. You cannot expect to have a structured franchise. Why do you think a lot of people are disgruntled with Star Wars? And I'll say this. Yes, The Last Jedi, even though I like the movie. I don't love it. I'm not like, it's perfect, it's amazing. There are a lot of flaws with the movie, and I'll be the first one to point that out. There are a lot of flaws with the movie. I'm a huge diehard Star Wars fan. I'm not the type of Star Wars fan that everything that comes out is gold and rainbows and freaking perfect. Or I'm not the Star Wars fan that's like, I want my Star Wars original trilogy. That's it. Everything else is dead to me. I'm not that type of person. I'm not that type of fan. My problem is you have to have someone there who can literally maintain the structure of this franchise, maintain the structure of where she wants Star Wars to go. And you need someone who has a better relationship with directors, because quite frankly, she is not very good with directors. She's just not. And so that has been my biggest criticism about Kathleen Kennedy. Rian Johnson, I'll say this. Everyone hates on The Last Jedi. Everyone does. And it's easy to hate on it. Again, there are problems with the movie. I'm not going to stick my head in the sand and say everything's perfect, everything's fine. And I'm not going to be the type of person that's like, this isn't real Star Wars. Come on. Grow up. The thing is, Rian Johnson made a controversial film. Disney loved it. Kathleen Kennedy had a great relationship with him. And so do I think it's a good idea to bring him back for a trilogy? You're dang right. You're dang right I do. Because Kathleen Kennedy has shown time and time again that she has problems having good relationships with directors. Well, Rian Johnson's here, a guy who directed Last Jedi. And guess what? They had a great relationship. She loves him. She loved The Last Jedi. Disney loved The Last Jedi. And I'll say this. even though a lot of us didn't like it, and we were already writing him off as, oh, it's gonna suck. This Rian Johnson trilogy is gonna suck. We don't know nothing about it, but it's just gonna suck because I hate The Last Jedi. People need to understand one thing. One thing. This is going to be different. This is not coming off the heels of anything. This is going to be his own vision, his own trilogy that he's writing and directing. That's something brand new. So I think it's a great choice. Kathleen Kennedy has problems with directors. Bring on Rian Johnson. Have him make 3 films. Have him at least make 1 film. I think the whole trilogy idea is stupid. I think the trilogy is getting ahead of themselves a little bit, a little premature in my opinion. If I was them, and this is for Benioff and Weiss, this is for anybody. I love Game of Thrones. It's my all-time favorite TV show. But I'll say this, Benioff and Weiss, I'm not giving you 3 films. That's a little too premature for me. It's kind of like counting your chickens before they hatch. I would be perfectly okay with Rian Johnson getting 1 film. 1 film for now. If it works out, he can oversee the entire trilogy. Does that mean he has to direct every film? No. He can write every film. He can produce every film. He can oversee all of the small little aspects of the film, of all the films. But I think 3 films, that's the problem. A trilogy is a little premature. I think a lot more people would have been a little bit more okay with this idea or a little bit more on board if Disney had said that they had signed him on for 1 film and just to see where it goes. 3 films in anything is, to me, is premature. I'm sorry. It just is. It really is. And, because even though Star Wars is something that, has a huge fan base, a lot of people are going to come out and see it, doesn't mean that it's going to continue to stay at a constant rate. And not only that, but a lot of people were disgruntled about The Last Jedi, and it showed in Solo. So if you're saying Rian Johnson's going to do 3 films, say the first film comes out, a lot of people, again, split right down the middle. It's very divisive. Are the people, are they going to bring back a lot of the same audience for the second film? I don't know. Now, it could be amazing. We have no idea. I think it's a little premature to really start talking about this. They haven't really given us any information since they were like, guess what? Rian Johnson's directing a trilogy. Since then, nothing. And a lot of it also is because Rian Johnson has a film coming out in a couple weeks called Knives Out, which I am so excited to see. I cannot wait. It looks amazing. But again, I think it's a little too premature. I think once we get a little bit more understanding of what he could possibly do, like what the time frame could be within the Star Wars, within the franchise, it could be set in the past. I really think something more in the past would probably suit him. I'm not saying Old Republic era, but maybe like a forming of the Jedi or something. That would be awesome. That'd be really cool to see. So we'll just have to wait and see. And nothing's really going to happen right now with him, promoting Knives Out. So we'll see. No one. Kathleen Kennedy, you're fired. Certain scenes in the movie are pretty good. Rose Taco, in my opinion, is a bad character. I don't know much about Rian Johnson, but his movie Knives Out looks good. Yeah, it does. I'll say this. Knives Out is one of my most anticipated for the rest of the year. It's a movie that every single time I see the trailer for it, I get really excited. I really do. It's something. It's one of those things that I don't know. I love whodunits, and this really looks like something fresh and new, and I'm excited for that. I'm really down to watch that. And by the way, I think you meant Rose Tico. Her last name is Tico, by the way, Numenoid. Yeah, Rose. I'll say this. Let me get a drink. Ooh. Will I disagree with anybody who says Rose is a bad character? No. But I'll say this. I think she was just written poorly. I really think that what they did with Finn in that movie was a disgrace. Because if you think about it, what was the point? What was the point? What was the point of Finn's storyline or story arc in The Last Jedi? He goes on a mission to this planet to go find a hacker, stupid, or code breaker. I'm sorry, some crap. I can't even remember the crap that they said. It was some of the dialogue was just cheesy and awful. So yeah, they go and find this guy who can, hack the plans or hack the. I'm sorry, hack the the ship, hack the ship. So they go. I call it Casino Planet because I could give two craps. But they go to Casino Planet, and this the worst stuff in the movie is that planet. It's so garbage. I think it's just so terrible. And every time I put it in, I literally just like I'll put in the Blu-ray and I'll skip that scene every time. I'll pretty much skip everything with Finn in it, honestly, because he does that. He boards the First Order ship, and then guess what? They get caught. Yeah, Canto Bite. Thank you. Yeah, I knew it was Canto Bite. I also call it Canto Bright because it really, I don't know, it just sucks. Yeah, it's so dumb. It does nothing. If you take that entire sequence, if you take every single scene of them at Canto Bite, if you take every single scene of them on the ship, on the First Order ship, if you see every single, or if you take out every single sequence of him waking up, basically being the same from Force Awakens, which, come on, just lazily written. It changes nothing about the film. Think about it. Does it change anything? No, it doesn't. And one of my another big problem I have with the film, although it's a great thing to see when Finn, obviously shows up and basically he can do no wrong almost. Like he can just, for some reason, he picks up a lightsaber and the dude can just, he's not very good with it, but he knows how to swing around a lightsaber. I mean, they've almost made it where all these characters are almost unstoppable and like perfect and impenetrable. And it's dumb. It's like there's no reality within these films. And I get it. It's Star Wars. It's sci-fi. It's not supposed to be real. But like I do like reality in my films because if you think about the original trilogy, it is essentially a story about a farm boy who is almost like an orphan. He's not an orphan, but he's a farm boy who gets seeked out by this wizard almost and basically has to go and save a princess from peril. And it's really the underdog story. That's really what it's always been, the underdog story. And you could look at it as well in the prequels. I would say with Anakin, the underdog story. I mean, how many times did he get passed at by the Jedi Council when he was a kid? They were like, "No, we don't want you to teach him," or "Oh no, you can't be on the Jedi Council because you're not, you're only assigned there because Palpatine wanted you on the council, but you're not going to be a master." He got passed on and passed on and passed on. Same thing with Luke. These characters in the sequel trilogy, they're not the underdogs. They're not. I would make the case that if anyone was an underdog, it would be Finn. Rey is not an underdog. She's not. I mean, there's a lot of things that are very similar to Luke and his journey, but honestly, it's stupid. I really think that a lot of what they end up doing is just, it doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. It doesn't feel like the Star Wars that I know and love. And that's why I love The Mandalorian so much, because The Mandalorian is going out and doing things that are different. And that feel like real Star Wars. It feels like we're back in the era of the original trilogy. And we have an underdog story again. And again, we don't know a lot about the Mandalorian or his past. We know that, he's a He's a foundling, which means that basically he had no family. But the thing is it's like this new sequel trilogy, it just feels like all these characters are just perfect. They're perfect. They can do no wrong, and they're not underdogs. They're really not. And it just kind of bothers me a little bit. And I swear in episode 9, if they try to make Kylo redeemable in any way, it's going to piss me off. It's going to piss off a lot of people because you killed Han Solo. And I don't know why I brought this up. I just did because I really feel like they might try to redeem him. And he's not redeemable. I'm sorry. You killed Han Solo. You did to me. And I love Kylo Ren. He's my favorite character in the sequel trilogy. But at the end of the day, it's just this. It feels a little too complacent with where we are in today's society and in today's world. That's where Star Wars is now. And that's just not the Star Wars that I love. It isn't. So I really hope things change. I hope that, when episode 9 comes out, Rise of Skywalker, that maybe they'll have more of an underdog type of story. But to me, it doesn't feel like true to what I know Star Wars is and what it has always been, that underdog story. And I'm not talking about the shows or whatever, or like the animated shows. That's different. Yeah, it's canon, but it's not. It's more stretched out, and so that's all I'm saying. I really think that they got to stick the landing a little bit with this next film. I really think that Last Jedi left a lot of a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and yeah, we'll see what happens. One thing I also didn't like about Finn was the fact that he was able to overpower Captain Phasma. Like, what? Phasma is a trained militant leader. She's a friggin' captain of the First Order army. And you're telling me that, yeah, even though it's a cool shot and it's a cool scene, that Finn swings once it hits her in the face, and then, she falls to the burning ground, and we don't know what happened. Kind of sad and kind of stupid, to be honest, because it just doesn't make any logical sense. And it's the same problem that I had with Rey in episode 7, where she can just dominate Kylo in a lightsaber battle. I don't know. We'll see. Yobama? I don't know what you're saying. Plot armor, the farm boy, smuggler, and princess. Yeah. Rey's basically a Mary Sue. That's stretching. I don't believe that fully. I've heard a lot of people say that. There are ways in which she could be described as that, and I get why people say it. I don't necessarily agree with that because I don't know. It's tough. Disney's in a very tough predicament because when you put a character like Rey onto the screen, and she is the main character in this new trilogy, the problem that you're going to have is you want to make her strong enough to where women can idolize her, and she can be an icon really for the equal opportunity movement that's happening, in our country, and that I totally agree with, for sure. I have no problems with that. But they really put themselves in a corner because the problem is if you show any weakness in that character, it's going to make it hard for certain individuals to want to go see your movie. So I get what people say about it, but I also think Disney kind of just put themselves into a little bit of a corner with the character of Rey. And so I don't necessarily agree with that statement, but I'm not going to disagree with people who think that way. That's just not me. I don't see it in the same light, but I see it kind of in a similar way. I don't know. It's complicated for me. They tried to redeem him in part of The Last Jedi. All we got from that was Swallow. I don't get Swallow. Like, are you talking about like swole, like going to the gym swole? Oh, maybe that's what you're talking about. Because the scene where he has his shirt off. Maybe that's what you're referring to, Numanoid. Ben Swallow. Is that what you're referring to? I'm guessing that's what it is. When he has his, shirt off and, see kind of his muscles and his chest. I'll say this: Adam Driver's a good-looking dude. I'll say that. And he's one of my favorite actors working today. Yes, yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, but I saw that a mile away. When they did that, I was like, he's totally not going to take Rey's offer. He wants the galaxy. He's a evil person, and he's prideful. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, what do you think about everything I talked about? Let me know down below in the comment section of this video. Sorry for a lot of the ums and yeah and in the pauses. I don't know. It's been a long day. I just got back from working like just a few hours ago, so I'm a little tired. I haven't really gotten a ton of sleep the last couple of days. A lot of it is because of The Mandalorian and Disney Plus. It's been friggin' keeping me up, and I hate it. But yeah, hopefully I can, for tomorrow's live stream when I talk about the newest episode of The Mandalorian, hopefully I can come on here and be more clear, concise, not ramble on a lot, because I feel like I have been doing that, and I want to apologize to you guys and just say I'm sorry. But life is life, and sometimes you have good days, sometimes you just have tired days, and today is one of those days for me where I'm just kind of exhausted, really tired, and yeah, so I definitely apologize. I want to thank you guys so much for your support. I want to thank you for coming on here and watching my videos. It means a lot to me. Make sure, if you're new and you have not, subscribe to my channel down below. I have a lot of content coming. I know I've told you guys this every single time I've done a live stream, which has been like twice this week. But yes, I will have a Rogue One review. And if Mandalorian is not up, right, I'm going to check right now. It's 10 o'clock. Let's check. Real time, guys. Real time. All right. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to get out of the app. I'm going to hit Disney Plus. All right, let's see. Let's see if it's there. Now, the reason why I say maybe it's there is because it's 10 o'clock here, but it's 12 o'clock in the East Coast. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe my logic is wrong. I'm telling you, if it's there, I'm ending this. I don't care. I'm ending it right now. And we're still waiting. So, second episode has not dropped yet. But anyway, yes, subscribe to my channel if you have not. I will have a Rogue One review up within hopefully the next few hours. I really hope I do. I have started working on it, and there's a lot of video to edit, so hopefully I can get that up very soon. The Shining review, man, that's another review that just keeps haunting me. I always forget about it. Like I say, oh, The Shining, I'm going to do that review. And I've said that for like 3 weeks now because I have had the review done for 3 weeks. And again, all of the freaking footage was out of focus, but it's fine. I don't want to go back and do it again because I love what I say the first time around. And yeah, I just don't want to do that again. So that will be up sometime this week, hopefully. Hopefully that'll be up sometime this week. I know I keep saying that, and I wanted to get it up before Dr. Sleep. I just didn't have time or never really got around to it. Again, just kind of forgot about it. So it's one of those things where it's like every time I come on here, like for a live stream, or every time that I do a video, I think, oh crap, I still have to do the Shining review. I'm also going to have a review of American Horror Story 1984. I watched the entire season. Not going to give my thoughts on it just yet. I'm going to kind of let that sink in a little bit. I want you guys to think, does he like AHS 1984? We'll see. And it's the first season of American Horror Story I've watched all the way through. And it was because it was a slasher season, and I love the 80s. I love slasher movies. So, yeah, I'll let you guys know if I enjoyed American Horror Story 1984. That review will probably be up within the next couple days as well. And then also I will have on here tomorrow a live stream talking about all the goodness from Mandalorian episode 2. We're going to talk about we're going to break down everything from the beginning, everything to the end. I'm going to answer your guys' questions. So that will be around the afternoon. I'm hoping probably around like 2 or 3 o'clock tomorrow in the afternoon, Mountain Standard Time. So if you're on the East Coast, 5 o'clock. If you are where Numanoid the Gamer is, which I'm guessing you're Central Time, it's 4 o'clock. Yeah. So we'll see. Krish says, when will it release? Are you talking about The Mandalorian? Dude, I don't know. Probably midnight, but I don't necessarily. I mean, they could do a Netflix thing where they drop it all at like midnight or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or whatever. I think it might be one of those things where they drop it when everyone hits midnight. I'm staying up. And I'm gonna watch this thing tonight, go to bed, and then wake up tomorrow, watch it again, and then come on here and do a live stream. The first time, my first episode, I guess, in my Mandalorian series coverage for my live stream, I only watched it once, and that was I think that was a little bit of a mistake because there was only certain moments that I kind of keyed up to talk about and didn't talk about like all the other little moments here and there in between. And so I want to do that tomorrow's. I want to watch it not once but twice before I come on here and talk about it for my live stream. But yeah, man, I don't know when it's going to be released. Right now it's 10:05 where I am currently. I live in Idaho, so we'll see. I've already refreshed the Disney Plus app. Still nothing. Let's try again. I don't know. I just tried it like 5 minutes ago, but we got some more people on here, so let's see. And no, not yet. So probably within the next few hours, it'll definitely be released, Krish. And also, Krish, if you have not, subscribe to my channel so that way you can stay up to date. And whenever I talk about The Mandalorian, because I'm going to be making a lot of stuff about The Mandalorian and Star Wars. There's a lot of Star Wars reviews coming. You guys can, by the way, this is something I should also say, a little shout out. Go check out my review with my buddy Clayton. We have a ton of reviews on this channel. Just type in Star Wars on my channel. You're going to find reviews of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and Solo: A Star Wars Story. I will have my Rogue One review up hopefully before The Mandalorian Episode 2 drops. I really hope to get that up within the next couple of hours. If not tonight, definitely tomorrow before I go live to talk about Episode 2 of The Mandalorian. So stay tuned for that, guys, because the Rogue One review is going to be awesome. And then after the Rogue One review, I still have 5 more movies to talk about before Episode 9. I'm cutting it a little close, but I'm also going to have a New Hope review up this weekend as well, and it's going to be just me. I'm going to fly solo here on out. I loved talking about Star Wars with Clayton, and originally my idea was to have Clayton just on for the prequel series because I know that he really loves those films. And it kind of became a little bit more than that. I have been going back and watching all of the movies with Clayton, but I want to talk about the original trilogy by myself because the original trilogy is my all-time favorite trilogy, and it really molded me into the person that I am today. So definitely subscribe if you are not subscribed because there's a lot of Star Wars content coming. I don't just do Star Wars content, guys. I got new release stuff coming. Ford v Ferrari. I'm going to go see it tomorrow, and I'm going to have my review up tomorrow night of Ford v Ferrari. I do new release stuff. That's a Wrap is on Mondays, and I am going to have an American Horror Story review video up for this last season. Mandalorian stuff galore. Star Wars stuff is going to be crazy from here on out, leading up to Episode 9. And I'm going to have a lot more Episode 9 coverage as well. I'm hoping to do some more videos talking about Episode 9, what we can predict, what may happen, who's going to die, all that stuff. And it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. So definitely subscribe right now to my channel. If you are new, if you have not ever seen one of my videos before, I invite you to go check out some of my content because I really do work hard for you guys. I really want to make the best stuff for you guys. Numanoid the Gamer, you going to play that new Respawn Entertainment game, Star Wars Fallen Order? It's a game I really want to play. Here's my thing, Numanoid. With new games, this is the way that I go about it. I am going to get Jedi Fallen Order at some point. Some point within the next couple of months, I'm going to get Jedi Fallen Order. Why am I not getting it tomorrow on release day? Well, it's quite simple. Number one, Christmas is coming up. My wife and I were going to have to spend a lot of money. And so I don't really want to spend $60 on a brand new game when it's like I can wait a little bit. Number two, I like to wait until the bugs of the game are kind of fixed. And I don't really have faith that EA is going to make a game where they don't make you spend extra money for certain things, because they did that with Star Wars Battlefront 2, which I do own, which I will be playing. if you guys are interested, I don't really do gaming videos or anything. I don't really play a lot of video games in my normal life. I have a Switch, I have an Xbox One, but if you guys are interested, maybe we can, I don't know. You can watch me play a game or two of Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's been a long time, but hey, maybe I'll do it if this video gets, if I reach 150 subscribers by December, I don't know, 20th. How about that? Or December 15th. I will play Star Wars Battlefront 2, and you guys can laugh at me. You guys can laugh at me because I'm not very good. If we could play a couple games on here. I'm a film fan, guys. That's my name. The game fan, that's probably my buddy Clayton, if he ever makes a channel. But yeah, honestly, Fallen Order, I'll wait until it drops in price a little bit, and I'll also wait to see if EA doesn't charge up the wazoo for extra bonus crap, because I hate that. I hate DLCs. I hate, now we have DLCs in movies which are stupid, like Spider-Man Far From Home. It's just like, give me my freaking crap that I paid for. Just give me my service. I have Star Wars Battlefront 2 on my Xbox too. Awesome, man. Yeah, I haven't played in a while. I played the campaign, got stuck at a part, and then kind of just stopped playing. I played online, but I wasn't that great. But I am planning on getting some games on Black Friday, and I'll probably put that in my Blu-ray haul, even though, they're just games and I'm a movie guy. But, we just got a Switch not too long ago, so my wife and I were looking at some games that we're going to get, and I do want to get Call of Duty Modern Warfare because that looks like a lot of fun, and I just want to play online and pwn some noobs, you know what I mean? Anyway, guys, I think I'm done. I've talked a lot. Again, I'm kind of tired, so my voice is, a little groggy. But again, thank you guys so much for your content. And I am just so beyond grateful. This past week has been crazy. I've been gaining subscribers like at least one a day, which is awesome. I'm a super small channel. So if you guys could share the word with other people about my channel and let them know, where they can find new release content in terms of movie reviews and, talking about Star Wars and all that good stuff. It would mean a lot to me if you guys could do that. I really want to try to get to 200 subscribers before the end of the year, but that's going to be a little tough. So we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. And also, if you like this video, hit that like button. I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye. And may the force be with you. Goodbye.